what kinds of promotions from a technical aspect are available to me? Can I run bundles? Can I do free gift with purchase? You run into the risk of we devalued our brand. That's always the fear. But I think it's
Yeah.
more that you unintentionally train customers to not purchase when things are at full retail.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Click to Buy. Today I have on my guest Kurt Elster, and I'm excited to chat with him about all things and the ways that you can prepare your store for Black Friday and the holiday rush and beyond. Kurt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. So we're talking about Black Friday promos, Q4, etc.
Absolutely. Well, I of course am familiar with your show, but maybe my audience isn't. So could you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and the magic that you create in the Shopify world?
Sure. I'm Kurt Elster, best known for hosting the Unofficial Shopify podcast. We're up over 2 million downloads on that show. Been doing that a while, and we started that not long after becoming Shopify partners, and then saying we should just exclusively do Shopify because we'd finish those projects and go, well, that was easy, and that's now been a little over 10 years. We've been doing that, just nothing but Shopify.
It's a long time, but I'm sure you've chatted with lots of interesting people along the way as well.
Yeah, well, probably the most notable guest would be Shopify President Harley Finkelstein was on, which great honor to have him
For
on,
sure.
of course, and really, I think legitimized what we were doing.
Absolutely. Well, I'll definitely make sure I drop a link to your podcast in the show notes. So if anyone who's listening wants to check out Kurt's pod, but now let's dive into it. So Black Friday is coming. By the time the episode's out, it will be almost here. So what do you think is the best time that store owners can start gearing up for Black Friday?
Well, I think the answer is now,
Yeah.
uh, of course, but it's when we say now, it's not that you're running promotions immediately. It's
hmm
that you want to be growing the top of funnel. You want to be acquiring prospects, building new subscribers to your email list and visitors to the site that you can then put into retargeting audiences on Facebook, etc. And if I get those folks onto my newsletter and into those remarketing audiences, all right, now I can reach out to them when it's time to run those promos on
hmm
Black Friday. So currently it's just about, gathering those impressions. We just want to show it to as many people as possible. And largely, we want to be prepared, but also because it's going to get more expensive the closer we get. More advertisers are spending more money on their PPC ads, their Facebook ads, etc., as they get closer to Black Friday.
Right. And I guess so indeed, right now is the time to get to know your customer and figure out who that is. So then by the Black Friday time, you're really ready to capture that audience that hopefully you've cultivated and that list that you've started collecting and growing. So what are the best way that store owners can kind of zhuzh up or set up their shop when it is time for the big Black Friday rush?
Well, I think the thing that a lot of people miss is
Mhm.
landing pages. Building a dedicated page, alternate product template, alternate collection template. That's honestly my favorite way to do it, is alternate
Mhm.
collection template that spells out what the promotion is. So you're running whatever the promotion is, that email went out, that marketing campaign, SMS, whatever it is, should link to a page that immediately spells out this is the promo. 15% off t-shirts, buy one, get one t-shirts, buy three, get one, free gift with purchase, whatever it is, that better be the first thing screaming at me at the top of that page. I think the mistake you see people make is we're going to send them to something that is somewhat relevant, the homepage, the product in
Mhm.
question, but unless it's restating all of that for me and making it clear, then I'm not necessarily going to go through the effort of figuring out your promo so that I can make a purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you said, I've heard from a lot of other people I've chatted with lately as well on the pod that some people make the mistake of just thinking like, oh, if I just have this small banner on my homepage, like that's enough. But I would definitely agree with you having this kind of targeted offer and putting in the time to create something for these kind of campaigns. seems to pay off in terms of conversion. I know it can be kind of stressful for brands when they're thinking about everything that they have to kind of tick off the list to get ready for Black Friday. Do you have any suggestions for any like fun or quirky ways that a store can get ready for this big shopping period?
Well, all right, fun and quirky, no. I think if you're overwhelmed by it, a spreadsheet or a checklist,
Yeah.
there's not that many things here. And it's
Hmm.
no different than a campaign or a promotion you would have run any time of the year. But the moment we put Black Friday in front of it, it becomes so overwhelmingly mission critical that
Hmm.
I think people overthink it and just shove themselves into a state of paralysis analysis where I am so anxious about it. I just do nothing instead for fear of failure. And we see like this is such a common and odd thing to witness with business owners that they're just like, you know what I should do? Nothing. I should do absolutely nothing. Cause then I can't fail. And you're like, oh, please, please don't. Um, and that's troublesome. That drives me crazy. So taking any action,
Hmm.
is the way to go here. But all right, where would I start? I think I would start with what kinds of offer are available to us. Because some
Hmm.
brands will not discount. Some brands cannot discount due to, maybe minimum advertised price policies that they have to obey. So I'd start with, or technical limitations. So I'd start with figuring out what kinds of promotions from a technical aspect are available to me. Can I run bundles? Can I do free gift with purchase? These are my favorite bundles and free gift with purchase. Anything where I am masking what the discount on a specific product is. And like straight discount across the store, 40% off everything. Those kill. Those are great.
Hmm.
But not everyone's comfortable with it because it's the sugar high of discounting. You run into the risk of we devalued our brand. That's always the fear. But I think it's
Yeah.
more that you unintentionally train customers to not purchase when things are at full retail. And so figuring out it's some promotions are harder to run than others. Like free gift with purchase, not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but totally worthwhile. Gift cards, like bundle in a gift card. So
Hmm.
like make a list of the promotions that you're comfortable with and are able to do. And whatever that Venn diagram is, like, okay, now we know what's available to us. We have our categories of promotion. Got it. Now plug in our merchandise, our content, and what can we make work there? What can work as a free gift with purchase? Maybe we have to get new product or we have overstock product we can move. All right, so there's that level of merchandising that now we apply to our promotions. And
Hmm.
now that we're breaking this glacier down into ice cubes, it's going to start seeming much less overwhelming. And by starting with like, okay, let's decide on the things we can't do. Well, that's just as important as figuring out what we could
Yeah.
do. Sorry, we get that far, things are getting easier. And so now I know these are the promotions I can run on these specific products. All right, I got that. Here's how I'm going to do it. Okay, now, next step, let's plug that into a calendar. And so if I have my calendar, I want a different promotion every day of the week during that Black Friday, Cyber Monday week. That's some of the most successful campaigns we've ever run with clients was we did and it doesn't be completely different, just slightly different each week, or we highlighted a different thing. It was like this category is on sale Monday, this category is on sale Tuesday, or free gift with purchase on Monday, different free gift with purchase on Tuesday. You just get a different gift every day of the week.
Hmm.
And when I can get that into my calendar, all right, now we're almost there. Final step, we have to figure out the creative, we have to implement it. I think that's the part where you can really get yourself tripped up. But if you've made it that far, not too tough. But I think then now I have to make newsletters and landing pages and social ads for all of these campaigns. And it's not just one, it's like announce it, end it, and then maybe what I need something to hype it, and putting together all that individual creative and getting that scheduled out. I think that's where the wheels fall off. Because we've already had to do so much stuff leading up to that, and now I got to do a
Hmm.
creative task too. Oh, it makes my brain hurt. And so
Yeah.
trying to deal with that, I get where people just like start cutting corners and be like, all right, we're going to skip the landing page here. You're like, no, you're so close to the finish line. You made it 98% of the way there. Please just push this over the finish line.
Hmm.
Um, that would be the approach to feeling overwhelmed with it or like trying to manage it. But I would say, ideally, if you can maybe outsource some of that stuff so that it's not you personally doing with it or like the same person dealing with it. You know,
Mhm.
where our clients that have the most success tends to be like they come up with the campaign, what they want to run, and then they tell us, here's the dates, here's what's happening, figure out the technical implementation. And so we just do it. We go, all right, that's done. Like this is scheduled, it's going to happen no matter what. So you better have the campaign and the promotion to promote that. And then, they or an agency could figure out email marketing, PPC, etc.
Nice. I think what you said there, especially in the end, is like a good way if, of course, you're a brand that has the resources to do it. Because, like you said, there's so many different elements that you have to think about and things that you need to check off the list. So, if you can outsource some of it to kind of have this balance, so you can focus on like the discounts, the basics, like what is the message that you need to distribute in all these different channels. I think that's kind of a smart way to go about it. I'm really curious if you have any memorable promotions that you've helped with in the past, maybe something that sticks out from your work with brands.
My favorite, and it's not that this was necessarily the most successful. I think it's just this
Sure.
was the first time I saw a campaign like this, and the first time I saw one run so well and work so well. Was
Hmm.
for a lifestyle brand called Hoonigan. That's just like you're a 19-year-old dude who just likes doing burnouts in a car. Like you're kind of you self-identify as maybe kind of a scumbag. That's the brand. And
Hmm.
so like when you have a brand like that, it's a lot of fun. And so the promotion that we ran with them, and this was one of the earliest times that I saw the power of free gift with purchase combined with some mystery,
Hmm.
really really worked well. We said, all right, it was like on Sunday, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're hyping this. We're saying every day this week with every purchase on Hoonigan.com, you are going to get access to a different pin. And there's a company called Lean's Custom that makes enamel pins. You get lots of places that'll make enamel pins for you. They're
Hmm.
inexpensive, but people love them, especially like if they're really into the brand. And the catch here was the pins are never available for purchase on the website. You can only ever get these as a promotion in person or a free gift with purchase. And so Monday rolls around and you now find out, oh, this is the free pin we're getting today. And like for them, they have a YouTube channel. And so all the cars are kind of like end up being characters. And they're like, all right, this one, Monday is Scumbug, which is like a VW Beetle. I love VW Beetles. I have one. And so I'm like, oh, that's the one I have to have. And so they say, well, you got to make a $10 purchase on our website and you get this free pin. Great. So they start with that. Tuesday rolls around. Hey, we got a new free pin. This time it's Shit Car, which is an actual vehicle they made and showed in Vegas. And so they had this car, they had a pin of it. You got to spend $25. And so now it's been paired to a discount ladder. And so what you end up doing is by Friday, the hardcore customers, your like most loyal VIP customers, you have given them the excuse to make a purchase 5 days in a row. And maybe that like the discount ladder ratcheted up each time as you were like kind of easing them into it. And so now that repeat purchase rate, that customer lifetime value, where this thing is really singing. And most people aren't going to do every single pin, but they'll be like one combined with a highlighted item that they're like, oh, I want that. And the pin, like all you've done is given them the excuse to make the purchase. And the magic wasn't like, oh, we did it once. Once they had the format, 5 days in a row, plus like hyping it. And then at the very end, you'd be like, all right, now the promotion is you get a random pin. We're not going to tell you which one, but like make a purchase over $50. We're giving you one of these random pins. And it worked incredibly well. And so I've always been big on mystery gifts work very well. I've seen brands do like Jay Leno's Garage. Initially, they started with it was like every other Friday they do mystery bucket. The bucket is $50 and we guarantee it will have at least $50 worth of product in it. No, we don't tell you what's going to be in the bucket. And so you better over deliver on that promise. But
Hmm.
people love the mystery bucket. So we've done like mystery bucket, mystery bag, mystery box. Those always work. Or, mystery free gift. Man, those just kill. And it depends, it depends on the
Yeah.
brand. It worked for these brands, but if you think it'll fit, people go wild for it. They love it.
I think that's a really interesting advice. I would have to say, even this last week, I've already seen some like ads on my Instagram for like mystery boxes for brands. And I'm thinking in my head, like, yeah, they're probably testing their promotions, trying to see what tactics for the big kind of rush that's coming up. So definitely maybe something to try if you're listening in and thinking about what tactics to try to play with. But of course, like picking out your tactics is one half of the equation. You also have to kind of figure out who you want to target. So there is kind of a debate I know that some people have, and I'd love to hear your hot take on this. Do you think stores should focus more on acquiring new customers or trying to increase like loyalty with returning customers during the sales period, or both?
I think there's a balance to be struck. The
Uh-huh.
fear is if we're only going after new customers,
Hmm.
this just chews through my profitability because now every purchase also has this large expense of customer acquisition cost. If
Hmm.
I'm only selling to returning customers, I'm never going to keep 100% of them. And so my addressable audience size is just going to get progressively smaller over time as people churn out. And that is totally normal. So there's a balance to be struck between the two of them. And for
Hmm.
me, generally, I would say, unless you're selling a consumable subscription good like coffee, if you could get a return customer rate that hits 40%, that would be phenomenal. I think 25 to 35% is probably the sweet spot for return customer rate. But that's year round. For Black Friday, I think the answer is you want to be focusing on trying to acquire new customers through September, October. By November 15th,
Hmm.
I think we really want to be shifting, either setting bid caps or shifting our budget into our retargeting efforts, just because the traditional thinking is that top of funnel cost is going to get expensive.
Yeah. Definitely. And I guess like knowing that you want to try to get these kind of repeat customers from before, do you have any advice for kind of tactics and how to make these customers feel special? Maybe that like some of this promotion is like thanks for being our customer, like that exclusivity maybe. Do you have any tactics or tips on that front?
Yeah, you could do the early bird sale in
Okay.
November, like no,
Hmm.
early November, November 1st. You say, hey, our because you bought from us in the past, we have an exclusive offer for you. We're going to
Hmm.
give you a sneak preview, you know, this weekend only of our Black Friday sale. And this is how you test the waters. We're running this just for you, our past customers, in advance. So you buy now, get your shopping out of the way, not worry about running out of inventory. Here you go. And
Hmm.
then we're still going to include them in the actual Black Friday sale and hope that maybe they make a second purchase. Or once you could also do once someone's made a purchase, email them again, the next day and say, hey, thanks for your purchase yesterday. Really appreciate it. If you want to make a second purchase in the next 48 hours, we'll give you 15% off any single item in the store. Something to that effect can work very well.
Gotcha. So that's kind of a clever way to keep the conversation going and hopefully continue to foster this loyalty or return to your store. I guess like I love all the Black Friday advice you've already given, but I think maybe a great add-on to this segment could be exploring like how can stores keep this kind of holiday cheer going into December after Black Friday's over? Like how can you keep that momentum?
Well, you could do, 12 days of Christmas sale. You could do the
Mm-hmm.
exact same concept and run it again, but switch up the items, categories, whatever it is. Same
Mm-hmm.
format, just swap out the merchandising and run that as like 12 days of Christmas sale. And then you've got that, but now we can also add in urgency because we have shipping deadlines we can include. So like, hey, get free shipping because you only have X days left. And so we've done all orders now ship free. That's a good one. I like a good free shipping day promotion and using that urgency of like, okay, you're running out of time here for guaranteed delivery before Christmas. And especially with in recent memory, we saw Shipigan, we saw
Yeah.
these photos of like overwhelmed FedEx warehouses that didn't look too promising for getting our stuff in time for Christmas.
Mhm.
So there's that idea, and then once we're past that shipping line, if you could turn to digital goods, gift cards,
Mhm.
electronic gift cards are a good way to go into December. And then on Christmas itself, I like to do get what you really wanted, in which you email the person and because maybe they have like a Visa gift card, cash, something burning a hole in their pocket, and they didn't necessarily get what they wanted. So showing up at their inbox and saying, "Hey, get yourself something nice." That
Yeah.
and here's a little bonus coupon for shipping, whatever it is, can really do surprisingly well.
Interesting. I also am curious on your take on like how like gift bundles or like gift guides and all these sorts of tactics maybe could fit in with some of your advice on like building a landing page for this part of the holiday rush.
Well, so all of the content and advice I've
Uh-huh.
suggested has all been promotional. It's like,
Hmm.
here is stuff and you should buy it because there's a discount, there's some financial incentive involved.
Hmm.
Whereas gift guide, I love because we're going to connect the dots for them. Hey, who are you shopping for? Because everybody's struggling, but everyone is on
Yeah.
these newsletters, but has their favorite brands. But it's like, well, who do I buy for what? And so kind of preempting that and prompting them, hey, we got some gift guides here. Maybe this will help. And doing it by price, like everyone has a budget in mind. It's like, oh, well, that family member I got to spend $50 on, but this one I only got to spend $20 on. And so having a gift guide that's like, gifts under 50, gifts under 20, gift under 100. I think that can be really helpful to just prompt people and get them to purchase. Or if the categories, the demographics of your audience, you can share that by being like gifts for teens, gifts for college kid, like however that breakdown is, that in turn becomes a gift guide.
True. I think that's a good one. Like stocking stuffers for mom or for XYZ person that's difficult to shop for in your life. I think indeed is like an easy way to nudge people once you've gotten that promotional aspect of your campaign to bring someone to that landing page or to your store. So I guess after December passes and Black Friday and kind of the Christmas time is over, I think a lot of e-commerce brands struggle a little bit because you just had this really big sales period. And how do you kind of keep the steam going into January, or kind of cope with that? Do you have any other advice other than your nice like after Christmas Day tip on how brands can kickstart it into the new year?
Well, new year, new you. It's always some variation of we're going to lean on New Year's resolutions, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. So if you have anything that speaks to that, it can really help. I mean, certainly if you're in like fitness, health, nutrition, that's kind of a gimme. I would not pass up that opportunity. But the thing
Hmm.
you're up against is the post-sales slump. You have entered the holiday hangover where it's January and the Christmas tree is now sitting at the curb and the credit card bill has come due. And so this is when people are going to be the most price sensitive. And so if you were waiting to do that store-wide sale, run that store-wide sale January 15th and just like burn through remaining holiday inventory or previous year's inventory, the stuff that's now distressed can really that's when I'd wait to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice because like I spoke with I think Deborah O'Malley on the last episode as well about like how some brands just lean so heavily on discounting so early on that they don't really have any like ramp up to it. So I think saving that till January after you've tried some of the other tactics is a really great advice for how you can kind of think about your discount and promotional strategy. So thanks for that hot tip. Thinking about maybe what else that people can do during this time. I'm curious if like you have any memorable campaigns maybe on this topic as well, like anything that worked really well with a brand you worked with, or maybe a brand you've spoken to about their kind of December, January time promotions.
The one that the Christmas Day sale, like, hey, get what
Mhm.
you really wanted. Um, that one has always worked well. Gift cards never do amazing, but
Mhm.
they sell some. And the big advantage to the gift cards is people will almost always spend more than the value of the gift card. So you kind of have to look at that one as like is it longer term and like two purchases that you're going to get out of that initial gift card purchase. Um, so I like that, but no, nothing too crazy. I mean, it just gets progressively harder until you're
Mhm.
into January, and then there's that slump, and it doesn't slow down, until um, maybe like spring. People start getting active in shopping again,
Yeah.
like March, April. end of March, April is when you see things pick up again. But I mean, just like January 15th through to March 1st, it's a little slow. And that's why I like to do, like if you're going to do a once a year big sale, save it for then, for when you know it's the toughest to get people to open their wallets.
Absolutely. So I guess we've talked a little bit about the discounts, about the promotions, about the people. So maybe to complete the full picture here, onto like tools and resources. I'm sure through your work and also people maybe on your podcast, you have maybe some ideas without getting too technical. Like, are there any simple tools that you could suggest that could help a brand make their holiday season and Black Friday a little bit more successful?
Well, I think now it would be in advance would be the time to check in
Yeah.
and hear from your customers, whether that's talk to your customers. I mean, if you want to know your customers, you have to use my favorite app, phone.app, and pick up the phone and talk to them. I realize
Mm,
that, like, as a millennial myself, we're allergic to phone calls, but
yeah.
there is something incredibly valuable about actually talking to a customer and being like, hey, how did you hear about us? How would you ever consider recommending us to a friend? Oh, what are they like? How would you describe it? Why would they buy? Getting that kind of info is really helpful, especially before you have to craft a bunch of campaigns. And
Hmm.
so knowing what that voice of customer is and knowing how they talk about your product and knowing what their their reasoning is behind buying it, what they got out of it. Because then you can hold up the mirror, you can parrot that back in the marketing copy that you're about to send out. That's really valuable stuff. And you could do that in a survey, a post-purchase survey,
Hmm.
talking to them. Like, none of these are mutually exclusive. Live chat, also a good time to go through and figure out if you have any issues on your site. And if you have someone doing customer service, if you have a live chat that someone's running, the customer service person knows where all the bodies are buried on your
Yeah.
website. They know all the goofball issues. They know the things that confuse and frustrate people. Talk to them, right? They will know and they can help you, and you could solve those things. That's like real deal conversion rate optimization, is fixing problems, not testing button colors. Uh, I also like, there's a free tool, Microsoft Clarity. Microsoft
Mm.
Clarity will run screen recordings, heat maps, and more. But those are the things I'm interested in. And you run it on your site, and then you could go back into it and say, all right, I only want to see session recordings with rage clicks. Rage clicks is when the person gets mad and they're like, something isn't working as they expect. So they're just like pounding on their phone.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that'll fix it, buddy. Good job. But if you watch the screen recordings at 1.5x speed of just the rage clicks and you watch it spend like 20, 30 minutes at it, pretty quickly you'll figure out if there's an issue, because you'll see multiple people do the same infuriatingly strange thing. And then you're like, oh, wait, they're not the problem. I am. They're not the dumb one here. The website is. And so you'll find, like, oh, that thing that we never thought about because we've been staring. We as business owners have seen our own site more than anyone else on the planet. And so we ignore all these issues. Like, let's surface and fix those things. And usually they're all easy fixes. You just never thought about it and you never saw what kind of problem it created. Just those rage click screen recordings really illustrate, like, oh, here's the stuff that's actually wrong with my website.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I love the imagining like someone rage clicking, but it's so true. I think like
Like
you
on
hate to
their
see.
couch watching
Yeah,
Law and Order while screaming and tapping their phone.
yeah, yeah. I just want my like socks or whatever. Like it's just not working. I think that's great advice. And like you said, now is the perfect time to get to know your customers, figure out your tools, because the last thing you want is like come Black Friday to have this glitch and suddenly like you had this goal that you didn't reach because of something that was totally in your sphere of control. So maybe bouncing off this, I always love to end the podcast with obviously things don't always go well in terms of e-commerce business. So I always like to hear from the guest. What is something you think that a lot of e-commerce brands get it wrong when it comes to their customer journey? And how would you go about fixing it?
I think my pet peeve is someone will come to me. They're like, hey,
Mhm.
we've got a problem. All these people are reaching out to us and we've got this one issue. And it'll be like this really mundane or specific thing. And I'll say, how many people reached out with this? And the
Mhm.
answer is, it turns out it was always one person. It was one person. And then we exaggerated that into like, oh, all these people. Because it's, well, okay, only one person reached out to us. But obviously there's like, for every one, there's 20 others that have that issue. okay, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or we have one crank and now we're making knee-jerk decisions based on like one frustration email at 1 a.m. from a customer. Like, so I always kind of like question and push back on those. You don't have to do every single thing that pops into your head, whether it's like a customer's annoyed about X and thinks my site should work this way, or, you know, this competitor who we like did this. Okay, well, maybe they did it because like their poodle told them to during a vendor. You have no idea. They don't know any more about what they're doing than you do, but you assumed they did. So I would question your own assumptions and decision making for sure. But going into Black Friday, I think we make things harder than it has to be, right? Like, think about what you want to see from other brands and what annoys you, and then do the thing you want to see for your customers.
There you go. I think, like you said, sometimes like the squeaky wheel, if it gets the grease, I know that's like the common expression. So what I'm hearing is like make decisions that are built on like data and like more than just like a test audience of like one.
Yeah.
And then also definitely think about Black Friday. Like maybe it seems like it's a lot of stress doing all the things we chatted about today. But if you just kind of take it bit by bit and make this action plan now, I think it will definitely pay off in November, December, and beyond.
You know, I break it down this way: is all right, you're like struggling with this, and so add a calendar event in your own calendar, and you say Friday, I'm going to either like Friday, this is due, or you're going to block out time, an appointment with yourself, and say I'm going to work on this. But don't just make it like I'm going to work on Black Friday. It should be I'm going to work on what campaigns I can run, and that's due this Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm going to work on what my merchandising is, what promotions I should have. Great. And then the fall, like just take that big problem, break it down into individual items, treat yourself as your own client, and set deadlines and make a schedule. And then I think you'll get through it and it'll be a lot easier than you think.
Absolutely. Well, Kurt, thank you for dropping all of these golden nuggets on our podcast today. It was a blast to have you on.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah, well, again, thanks. This has been another episode of Click to Buy. Be sure to check the show notes. You can also get the link for Kurt's podcast as well. Till next time, it's been Becca, and have a good one.